Alright, thanks for joining us again. This is video number 8, or sub-element number 8, signals and emissions. This is Michael, KC9PHK, on behalf of the Clay County Area Amateur Radio Club. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the 2020 to 2024 extra class question pool. For exams, questions come from the 4 groups located inside this sub-element. E8A covers AC waveforms, sine, square, and irregular waveforms, AC measurements, average power, and PEP of RF signals, Fourier analysis, analog to digital conversion, digital to analog conversion, advantage of digital communications. E8A01, what is the name of the process that shows that a square wave is made up of a sine wave plus all of its odd harmonics? That's a Fourier analysis. E8A02, which of the following is a type of analog to digital conversion? Successive approximation. E8A03, what type of wave does a Fourier analysis show to be made up of a sine waves of given fundamental frequency plus all of its harmonics? That answer is a sawtooth wave. E8A04, what is dither with respect to analog to digital converters? A small amount of noise added to the input signal to allow more precise representation of a signal over time. E8A05, which of the following instruments would be most accurate for measuring the RMS voltage of a complex waveform? A true RMS calculating meter. E8A06, what is the approximate ratio of PEP to average power in a typical single-sideband phone signal? 2.5 to 1. E8A07, what determines the PEP average power ratio of a single-sideband phone signal? That answer is speech characteristics. E8A08, why would a direct or flash conversion analog to digital converter be useful for software-defined radio? Very high speed allows digitizing high frequencies. E8A09, how many different input levels can be encoded by an analog to digital converter with 8-bit resolution? That answer is 256. E8A010, or E8A10, what is the purpose of a low-pass filter used in conjunction with a digital to analog converter? Removes harmonics from the output caused by discrete analog levels generated. E8A11, which of the following is a measure of the quality of an analog to digital converter? Total harmonic distortion. E8B covers modulation and demodulation, modulation methods, modulation index and deviation ratio, frequency and time division multiplexing, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. E8B01, what is the modulation index of an FM signal? The ratio of frequency deviation to modulating signal frequency. E8B02, how does the modulation index of a phase-modulated emission vary with RF carrier frequency? It does not depend on the RF carrier frequency. E8B03, what is the modulation index of an FM phone signal having a maximum frequency deviation of 3000 Hz either side of the carrier frequency when the modulating frequency is 1000 Hz? Answer is 3. E8B04, what is the modulation index of an FM phone signal having a maximum carrier deviation of plus or minus 6 kHz when modulated with a 2 kHz modulating frequency? That answer is 3. E8B05, what is the deviation ratio of an FM phone signal having a maximum frequency swing of plus or minus 5 kHz when the maximum modulation index is 3 kHz? Answer is 1.67. E8B06, what is the deviation ratio of an FM phone signal having a maximum frequency swing of plus or minus 7.5 kHz when the maximum modulation frequency is 3.5 kHz? The answer is 2.14. E8B07, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing is a technique used for which type of amateur communication? High-speed digital modes. E8B08, what describes orthogonal frequency division multiplexing? A digital modulation technique using subcarriers at frequencies chosen to avoid intersymbol interference. E8B09, what is the deviation ratio? The ratio of the maximum carrier frequency deviation to the highest audio modulating frequency. E8B10, what is frequency division multiplexing? That is, two or more information streams are merged into a baseband, which then modulates the transmitter. E8B11, what is digital time division multiplexing? Two or more signals are arranged to share discrete time slots of data transmission. E8C covers digital signals, digital communications modes, information rate versus bandwidth, and error correction. E8C01, how is forward error correction implemented? By transmitting extra data that may be used to detect and correct transmission errors. E8C02, what is the definition of symbol rate in a digital transmission? The rate at which the waveform changes to convey information. E8C03, why should phase shifting of a PSK signal be done at the zero crossing of the RF signal? To minimize bandwidth. E8C04, what technique minimizes the bandwidth of a PSK31 signal? The use of sinusoidal data pulses. E8C05, what is the approximate bandwidth of a 13-word per minute international Morse code transmission? That's 52 Hertz. E8C06, what is the bandwidth of a 170 Hertz shift 300 baud ASCII transmission? That's 0.5 kilohertz. E8C07, what is the bandwidth of a 4800 Hertz frequency shift 9600 baud ASCII FM transmission? 15.36 kilohertz. E8C08, how does ARQ accomplish error correction? If errors are detected, a retransmission is requested. E8C09, which digital code allows only one bit to change between sequential code values? That's gray code. E8C10, how may data rate be increased without increasing bandwidth? Using more efficient digital code. E8C11, what is the relationship between symbol rate and baud? They are the same. E8C12, what factors affect the bandwidth of a transmitted CW signal? Keying speed and shape factor, rise and fall time. E8D covers keying defects and overmodulation of digital signals, digital codes, and spread spectrum. E8D01, why are received spread spectrum signals resistant to interference? Signals not using the spread spectrum algorithm are suppressed in the receiver. E8D02, what spread spectrum communications technique uses a high-speed binary bit stream to shift the phase of an RF carrier? Direct sequence. E8D03, how does the spread spectrum technique of frequency hopping work? The frequency of the transmitted signal is changed very rapidly according to a pseudorandom sequence also used by the receiving station. E8D04, what is the primary effect of extremely short rise and fall time of a CW signal? That is the generation of key clicks. E8D05, what is the most common method of reducing key clicks? Increasing keying waveform rise and fall times. E8D06, what is the advantage of including parity bits in ASCII characters? Some types of errors can be detected. E8D07, what is the common cause of overmodulation of AFSK signals? Excessive transmit audio levels. E8D08, what parameter evaluates distortion of an AFSK signal caused by excessive input audio levels? Intermodulation distortion. E8D09, what is considered an acceptable maximum IMD level for an idling PSK signal? Negative 30 dB. E8D10, what are some of the differences between baud code, digital code, and ASCII? Baud uses 5 data bits per character. ASCII uses 7 or 8. Baud uses 2 characters as letters, figures, shift codes. ASCII has no letters or figures shift code. E8D11, what is the advantage of using ASCII code for digital communications? It is possible to transmit both upper and lowercase text. And that concludes Subelement E8 from the Clay County Area Amateur Radio Club. I want to remind you, don't forget to check out our channel for additional video releases. Thank you.